Yes, legends, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. And if you know me, then this was probably one of the most predictable podcast episodes you could ever imagine. We're going to be going over 6 quotes that have genuinely helped me change my life, whether that be training, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, business, personal development, anything. Just 6 quotes that have genuinely had a massive impact on my life. Now, people ask me, Simon, why are you like a living quote book sometimes? And growing up, I never felt like I was the best at school. I never really felt like I fitted in. But I think as you get older, you start to learn how you retain information, or how you start to learn about how you learn. You learn to learn, okay? And the biggest thing for me is to find a quote or a catchphrase and then think, what does this then mean to me? And what I'm going to be doing is basically running you through these 6 quotes, giving you a little bit of a story about the quote, and then giving you a bit of an analogy as well. The reason that I'm going to do this in terms of point, story, analogy is it is hands down the best way to get you to actually remember stuff. Because the biggest thing that I can tell you right now is you can listen to this podcast, you can watch this podcast, whatever it might be. But if you don't actually take the lessons from this and implement it into your life, into your training, into your nutrition, into your personal or professional life, it is going to make 0 difference. Absolutely 0 difference. So here we go. And make sure you hang around until the last one, because it is an absolutely golden one, okay? The first quote for me is, make sure that we operate out of being consistently good, not occasionally great, okay? Very, very simply, just being consistently good rather than occasionally great has helped me ditch the all or nothing mindset. I would hands down say I am probably one of the most all or nothing people you will ever meet in your life, particularly when I was younger. I remember literally drawing out schedules to go to the rugby pitch, and I'd be like, I would do this many kicks off this foot, this many kicks off this foot. I wouldn't then leave until I'd got that many kicks and that many kicks, and then I would go and I wouldn't go back up to the rugby club and kick again for 2 months, okay? Now, this also was a massive occurrence, this all or nothing mindset in my training and my nutrition when I was younger. It was a case of like, hey, my training was always pretty good, but then I was either on the most strict, low carb, ridiculous meal plan, or just eating whatever the fuck I wanted on the seafood, eat it. And it just ultimately led to me just never feeling like I reached my full potential. I was just there constantly thinking, if I could just stay consistent, if I could just continue to do this, if I could just continue to turn up and operate at the standard I know I'm capable of, I could reach my full potential. And after a while, when you constantly operate at this place of not reaching your full potential, it just starts to eat away at your confidence. It starts to eat away at your thought process and your ability to actually believe in yourself, because you start breaking your promises to yourself and you start self-sabotaging. So the analogy that I actually want to give you to try and remember this consistently good beats occasionally great is a surfer, okay? Now imagine a surfer, if they literally went out, caught one wave back in towards the beach and they fell off and they went, no, I don't do this, and went back in. They would never get any better at surfing, would they? Whereas a surfer, particularly a good surfer or someone who wants to get better at surfing, they always get back on the board. Okay, and if you catch that wave in, you fall off, you get back on, you paddle out. You catch the wave, you fall in, eventually you will become very good. And that is you operating out of being consistently good, not occasionally great. If you can genuinely embody this quote and live your life as consistently good, it will transform you. Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, personally, professionally, everything. Because consistency compounds into something absolutely ridiculous. Now, quote number 2 is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Everyone's heard this one, and everyone knows I'm such a big advocate of planning, okay? Now, I'm just gonna relate this back to nutrition, because I think it is the area that people listening to this could take the most value away from it. Now, if you fail to plan, you've basically planned to fail. You're not setting yourself up for success. You're not even giving yourself the opportunity of success, because you're going out on a whim, okay? So the biggest thing you want to think about, imagine you're just going through your day, I've eaten this, okay, I'll track it, then I've eaten this, and I'll track it, and I've eaten this, and I'll track it. It gets to the evening, you go, oh shit, I've gone over my calories, okay? If you're listening to this, just ask yourself, have I done this before? I know I have, okay? This is something I call reactive nutrition. Okay, and I want to very now simply show you how just all of a sudden being proactive and making sure that you're planning and setting yourself up for success is going to actually make sure that you can stick to your nutrition. Okay, now proactive nutrition or planning around your nutrition looks like this. The night before, I know I'm roughly going to have this, roughly going to have this, roughly going to have this. Oh, if I had that, I would have gone over. So all I'm going to do is make a small adjustment here, a small adjustment here, a small adjustment here. I'm also going to stay 200 calories under to create myself a little bit of a buffer in case Sally brings in some cakes at the office and I want to have one. Okay, that is what planning allows you to do. Planning allows you to operate out of consistently good, not occasionally great. Okay, if you are constantly relying on your willpower or your motivation or ultimately your feelings, you will not stay consistent. You will not see the results that you want to. And I know that sounds like I'm being straight with you, but you must plan, and that then allows you to stay consistently good and not be occasionally great, because anyone can unlock some willpower, okay, and get through one good day. If you constantly rely on that willpower and that motivation, guess what? It's not going to carry you through a week, a month, a year, a fucking decade, okay? Because there's no point in getting in shape if you can't stay in shape. So the analogy that I want to give you to remember to plan is ultimately that your willpower, your motivation is like a muscle. If I started doing bicep curls all day, guess what? My biceps would be really freaking tired. Likewise, if you're having to make decisions every single day, your willpower and your motivation is going to be very tired. So that when it comes to the evening and you need to use it to stay away from the biscuit tin, to get to the gym session, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do those things because your willpower is so tired from making all these decisions. The level of and the amount of decisions you genuinely have to make on a daily basis will blow your mind. Okay, you wake up, am I going to hit the snooze button? Am I not going to hit the snooze button? Am I going to weigh myself? Am I going to have a shower? What soap am I going to use? What am I going to wear? What socks? What shoes? What boxers? What trousers? What shirt? Okay, am I going to drive to work? Am I going to walk to work? Am I going to turn left? Am I going to turn right? Am I going to run through this red light? Okay, what am I going to have for breakfast? The list goes on and on and on and on. But if you can just plan, you will remove so many of those decisions and you will keep that willpower fresh for when you need it. All right, so number 3. And shout out to Kieran from Total Mental Performance, because this is a quote that he used with me, and it is, "Don't fuck with the sausage machine." And so many people have now kind of attached this quote to me, and it's incredibly powerful. Now, the story behind this, there's 2 sides of it. I'm going to give it from a training and nutrition standpoint, and I'm also going to give it from a business standpoint, okay? Ultimately, Aesthetic Strength, the program, was in a really good place. We were growing, clients were getting incredible results, I was confident with everything was just moving in the right direction, and I started changing things, okay? If shit ain't broken, don't fucking fix it. I see this so many times with people in their health and fitness journey. They're dropping body fat like clockwork. The scales are moving down, they're hitting their calories, they're enjoying their training sessions, and they're like, should I drop my calories? Should I do more steps? Don't change it. If it ain't broken, don't change it. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. But the reason that people don't do this is because consistency isn't sexy. Results come from doing the boring work consistently. Hitting your calories, doing your training sessions, getting your steps in, sleeping enough, getting your water in, okay? But if it ain't broken, don't change it. And the kind of analogy to this and the don't fuck with the sausage machine comes like this. If you had a factory that makes an incredible sausage, okay, and it's a super profitable sausage, all right, and the factory's working, it's a well-oiled machine, you wouldn't start coming in and taking that bolt off and changing that and changing the process and the manufacturer and all of this stuff. You would just let it run. You might tweak and fine tune to try and make it a better sausage machine, but you wouldn't completely fuck with it. So if shit ain't broken, don't fucking change it, particularly when it comes to your training and your nutrition, okay? The biggest thing, again, it comes down to consistency, and I'm going to bang on about this word a hell of a lot, okay? Now, number 4, and an incredible one, and this actually comes from a guy named Simon Sinek, and he is the author of a book called Atomic Habits. If you haven't read this book, it is incredible. I would highly recommend going and watching it now. And the quote is, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Because we can all have these incredible goals, these incredible ambitions, but when shit hits the fan and we end up more stressed, more overwhelmed, low sleep, low energy, what happens? When that willpower muscle is fatigued, tired, suppressed, what happens? We fall to the level of our systems. And those systems are your daily habits, your daily routines, and your daily structure. Okay? So is that when shit hits the fan, all of a sudden I don't get my training sessions in? Because you haven't got a system in place. You haven't made those training sessions a habit. All right? Now, the story behind this was I was in marathon prep probably about 18 months ago. I was in the early sides of it, and I was kind of just doing my runs. I had 4 runs a week. I was kind of mixing and matching them all the kind of throughout the week. Oh, I'm a bit hizzy here, I'll do it there. There was no real set routine or set structure. And then life got super busy. I had a lot of clients come in. We were making some changes. I was traveling a little bit, had a few opportunities. I was super stressed out, okay? And do you know what happened? I'd started missing my runs because my routine, my structure, and my personal systems were completely out of whack, okay? I didn't have them locked in. I didn't have them in the right place to be able to fall back onto them. So the analogy that I want to give you here is every kid, every child hates to brush their teeth, okay? And you'll see where I'm going with this in a second, guys. Every child hates to brush their teeth, but our parents, they give us external accountability to brush our teeth as kids. And as adults, everyone brushes their teeth without even thinking about it. Okay, it's become a habit, it's become internal. This is a prime example of external accountability creating an internal habit. Okay, when it's an internal habit, it's easy, it's unconscious, we don't have to think about it. Now, this takes time, but if you can make your personal systems around your training, your nutrition, your lifestyle a habit, guess what? When shit hits the fan, you'll be all good because it's unconscious, okay? Now, 2 more incredible quotes for you. Now, this one is big, okay? And it is implementation over perfection. And I'll say this again and again and again. I can give you all the information in the world, but unless you actually take action and do something, you will never, ever, 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 yes, that's a lot of evers, see the results that you want to. We do not get results, we do not achieve the things that we want to by simply saying it. You achieve results by taking massive fucking action and getting shit done. GSD, okay? That's a phrase we use inside our program, GSD, get shit done, okay? You get paid, you get results on getting shit done, okay? Now, the story behind this is before, I was a personal trainer for 7 years before I started our online side of the program, okay? And for 7 of those years, the last 3 of them, I was planning. Okay, I was planning to start the online side of the business. I'm going to run a members area. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I can't start until I've got this, this, and this in Plaction. 3 years. 3 years of planning. The online side of the business never even did anything. Didn't help a single client through it because it never even started. This is a prime example of not implementing, not getting shit done. Okay, we have this amazing thought process that everything has to be perfect before we start, but perfect doesn't exist. Okay, and you all know this deep down, but it still all holds us back from actually doing the things we need to do. So make sure that we have implementation over perfection, because even if you got it as close to perfect as you possibly could, by the time you start, you'll realize that there's so many holes in it that you need to redo things anyway. But when you start and you just get the ball rolling in some way, shape, or fashion, it gives you momentum. Okay, and the analogy that I want to give you here is a flywheel. Okay, once you're thinking and planning about all these different things, it's really hard to get going. It's really hard to get going, get that ball rolling, get that flywheel moving. But once you start, you get a bit of momentum, and all of a sudden that flywheel is rolling, that flywheel is moving so quickly, the results just keep coming, the success just keeps coming, and you can just build unstoppable momentum and just ultimately achieve incredible results in all areas of your life. Now, the last one that I want to give you is how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I think if there is one thing that you can ultimately bring into 2023 to help you take control of your health and fitness and dominate personally and professionally, is how you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, you look at some of the arguably greatest athletes or just most regimented, resilient characters on planet Earth, it is people like the Marines, it is army soldiers. They are so disciplined, and that discipline, I would say, is the number one characteristic that will help you achieve whatever you want to in your health and fitness or your life, okay? And this phrase is massive in the forces, and it's how you do one thing is how you do everything. Why do you think? My best mate was in trainings for Marines, and I remember him telling me they had to iron their bed sheets every single day. And I was like, that is just ridiculous. That is the biggest waste of time. But now I think about it, it was embedding self-discipline. And it was embedding turning up at their full potential. Because if you just turn up and you give everything your best shot, I guarantee you that shit will come quicker than you can ever imagine. But if you don't turn up and you don't do everything to your best of your ability, then guess what? It's just not going to happen. Okay? So if you bring all of these quotes together, oh my God, your life is going to go bang and you are genuinely going to reach your full potential. The analogy for that last kind of how you do one thing is how you do everything is imagine you have code in your brain. A computer has code, all right? And so does your brain, okay? We have been taught from a younger age or through society or social media how to think, how to operate, okay? And quite often we choose the easy wrong, okay? Now, a prime example of this would be, I need to cook tonight, but I could just order Deliveroo. That is the easy wrong over the hard right, okay? This is a quote within a quote here. Now, that is the code and the way that we have been conditioned. If we can condition ourselves to how we do one thing is how we do everything, and we condition ourselves to choose the hard right, then it becomes a habit, and then we fall to our systems, okay? So just condition yourself and practice turning up as the best version of yourself and giving it absolutely everything in everything that you do. Everything, whether that's doing the fucking dishes. I listened to an incredible podcast, the High Performance Podcast with Johnny Wilkinson. Johnny Wilkinson is arguably one of my childhood flipping role models, aspirations, and he related kicking that winning drop goal for England in the 2003 World Cup, I believe it was, to being the same thing as emptying the dishwasher. Yes, kicking probably the most incredible drop goal in rugby history is the same as emptying the dishwasher. Mind-blowing. And he was like, all I was doing is I was moving my body to achieve an outcome. And I was like, holy shit. How he does one thing is how he does everything. With intent, he's consistently good over occasionally great. He gets shit done with implementation. He has systems in place to make sure that he does so, and he doesn't fuck with the sausage machine. But team, I hope this was useful. I would love to know which of the quotes stood out to you most. Which one are you going to make sure that you implement into your life today, not tomorrow, today? And then are there any quotes in your life that you have found incredibly useful, incredibly inspiring? Let me know. And if you found this useful, just drop it a share on your social media and give me a tag at Simon Johnson Fitness. And I'll see you in the next one. Let's go.